What's going on, beautiful people? D-Lo Brands back for another video. And today I'm going to be sharing a recent project that I did for a client where I created a demo site for them. And this workflow, I believe most people are probably going to like or at least dabble in because it was pretty seamless. It was pretty easy. And, if you want to generate income doing something like this, you can. I don't do this as my main thing, but we did build this out. So let's get into it. So first place we're going to start is Lovable. And I'm not going to show you guys the actual brainstorming behind it. I'm just going to show what happened inside of the IDEs and what was done to, build out this platform. So as you can see, this is kind of the gist of the platform right now. It's kind of a live type of education platform, and it has features like the notebook, it has courses, the calendar, the dashboard of the user, and of course, their settings and information. So with this was a few different prompts, but I actually did create a entire prompt utilizing ChatGPT to, come up with this. So it basically just gave the entire overview, and all I really did was take the meeting transcript from me and my client and just gave it to ChatGPT to come up with what the client wanted. And so it built out the sitemap, built out pretty much everything. And honestly, when I got the first look, this was it. So definitely not what we just saw, but this was the first look. And I believe that, it building out everything and also having the functionality within it, I think was very, very powerful. And it did give me a good result from what I was asking for. It's not too far off. It's just minor things like UI, placement of different things and adding. But we then kind of refined it, and I said, hey, make the UI more like this. Let me see. Okay, so this was the UI example that I gave. This was a picture that I just found on Dribble, and I just looked up a dashboard and I inputted in, and I said, hey, make it more like this. I was thinking that maybe it would take the minimalist design, which it did. So when it did that, we have this new product, which was like this, which is still a little similar to what we had before. But then I actually created another version within Stitch. So if you don't know, Stitch is Google's UI brainstorming place. And let me see if I can log in and actually get my things. Okay, so yeah, right here. Design a clean and simple yet capturing UI for a platform with these key features. And I just put in the key features and it came up with this result. I then took basically this image and I utilized this image and also the one that I created in ChatGPT, which is this one. And I gave that the image and I said, hey, make the UI more similar to this, but a light version. And it came up with it, and bam. So this is a lot closer to, what we had initially in this video. Kind of the same type of stuff, but definitely cleaner, definitely something that is more viable. And we just continue to refine. And this is kind of what building things is. When you're designing with AI, all you're doing is starting from a certain place and then refining. And then with all of that, you will get a singular prompt after all of the refining that will create this one image that is pinpointed for what you want. So you have to, trial and error with different things. And I'm actually going to get into that in this video because this isn't the actual only version of this created. I created multiple versions of this. So I basically gave it feedback. I said, instead of this, give this, that, generate some dummy data, do this, make it more filled in. And we're going to see if we can get this preview. I'm not sure we're going to get this preview, but maybe this one. All right, so boom. This is, super close to what we had before, but I just told it to, change something. I said, create a navigation element titled courses. You don't see that here. So, and I wanted the courses to be of this screenshot. Now, this screenshot is from Udemy. I just went to udemy.com, took a screenshot of the page utilizing Go Full Page, which is a Chrome extension, but you can also use it on Microsoft Edge. And I gave it to it and I said, hey, I want this to be the page. So boom, we get this. You go to courses, you open one of the courses. Now you have this whole entire page. And I think that this was a version that I really, really liked for an MVP. If you wanted to basically get a picture of what everything your mind is telling you to put into a platform, and you want to see what it's going to look like and work together, how it's going to work together, then this is a great way to do it. And I think that this was a version that I would definitely call an MVP. It has all of the features, it has functionality. We get to, well, it doesn't have all functionality, but it has enough. So you have this admin dashboard, which was really cool that it included, because this was a platform that will have user roles, and the user roles will have different views. So the admin dashboard will, how many users, average watch time, quiz completion, things like that. So after this, I actually went inside of Firebase. So let me open that up really quick. I went inside of Firebase because I wanted to see a different look. And we actually got two looks. So, all right, so boom. This was the platform that I created on Firebase. This is the same demo platform that we were creating on Lovable, but I wanted to see what Firebase would do different. And what I did was give it the same exact prompt, but in our refining, we gave it this UI pretty early. And so it built it out. And I didn't say do it in light mode, so it did it in dark mode. Really similar UI. However, I think that this is much more easy on the eye and more modular. So that's one detail that, we can see between these two, is that, this is cool, but certain effects like, the outline and the shadow isn't present on things like this. And this is much cleaner in my opinion, but it did do it in a different take. So your dashboard is covering the whole entire screen. It's a top navigation rather than a side navigation. So there's definitely a lot of differences, and a lot of things weren't built out from this, but it did show, certain animations, certain clicks of things. But, we refined this a little bit, but not too much. I kind of just wanted to see a different version of this, but this version is another one I created in Firebase Studio, and it goes along with the login page. So we click login, we get taken to our dashboard, and this is what Firebase came up with. I think that it came up with a nice product, but it's just not functional, and so I couldn't see it. So that was the only bad part about this. Like I can't see it. So, and I didn't say fix it or anything. I did say fix it. I said, this is how the dashboard shows up. And I sent a screenshot of this, fix it. And it said, looks like the dashboard layout isn't responsive. I can fix that by adjusting the grid classes. And I was like, okay. So I went ahead and went back to Lovable, and I said, hey, we have a nice product right here, but we need to go further. So this is where we get to our final product, and I'm going to show you guys right here. So this is the development environment. This is the final product that I gave. So instead of using the initial prompt that I received, I just pieced together different parts from different parts, and I pieced together different parts from different prompts. And I was very clear about the different pages in the dashboard and things like that. And so let's see the initial thing that it gave us, because it didn't give us a login page initially. We had to add that. But if we click log out, yeah, see, even on this version, it doesn't have it. So It did give me a very good product first off, though. Having this type of dashboard, you go to the live, you see this. It looks like all of my trial and error with the other sites really paid off, because now with my first prompt, I'm getting everything that I wanted. I'm getting the advertisements in both of the areas that I want. I'm getting the features or the details under the live. And this was a very, very nice product to me, but it still wasn't good enough. So we didn't have a couple of pages, a few different pages, and we wanted to build out this function to be a demo site. So we had to do a lot of refining. And if we go back over here to our prompting section, the first refinement that I did was say build out the notebook page. It did that. And then I gave it a full list of feedback, which I think that this is a great way to work within Lovable. I think that you can do as many things as you want to, as long as it's within the context window. But saying 1, 2, 3, 4, like, it makes it so easy for it to pinpoint where it needs to change things. And I think that it worked well in that regard, because I did have other times where it, didn't follow that. So after all of those changes, we got, let's see, it has some build problems, but we got this product. So we have the notebook page here. It has the current assignments, quizzes, archives. We have the calendar page here, and these are actually present at this point. And they have dummy data filled in. Even the messages isn't here yet. Okay, so I then created an AI image within ChatGPT to use as a placeholder, and I said, hey, use the attached image. Where's it at? Use the attached image in the placeholder for the archives video inside the notebook. And I gave it some other changes as well, built out the messages pages detailing these 3 different types of chats. And so it went ahead and did that. But this is where I kind of shifted my workflow a little bit. And so it made the changes, but I said, hey, I want to see if Firebase can, do this for me. I want to see if Firebase can take over this project for me, take it out of Lovable and into Firebase. So what you're going to see is a button up here. I think it's going to be next to Supabase in the top bar, and you're going to be able to connect to GitHub, and you can push it to GitHub in a new repository. Go check out another video, because a vibe coding video on my channel, because we definitely did go over that. It's probably linked right here. However, we did. So if I go back to Firebase, we have this different looking type of site. So the blue sites are imported. It means that it's imported from a certain place, a GitHub or a repo or a React, just an import. These are the native Firebase, it started from a prompt inside of Firebase. This is that. So if we open this, it's going to build out our whole entire system. But one thing you guys will notice is that it does not have the same type of view like this for Firebase, because Firebase does have this same type of view. It's actually on the other side. The sidebar is on the other side. But when you are importing, you are not going to get that. You're not going to get that view. So let's wait for it to archive and unarchive, and then I will show you guys the actual site. All right. So of course, like I just said, you're not going to get that same view. You are going to get taken directly to the code. But basically, all you're going to do is import your GitHub. You're going to see all of your stuff here once it loads up. And you're not going to have the web IDX set up yet. So the web IDX is how you're going to basically preview your imported projects, whatever they may be, inside of Firebase Studio. So what you want to do is basically have one of these folders. And if you go down to the link in the description, I have this code for you to, very quickly set up your live previews within Firebase Studio. So check that out, but make sure that you do set this up when you come in here. So I have everything, and what I was doing now, which is the same thing that you would have in the other view of Firebase. It's just using Gemini. You have Gemini Code Assist, and this is just simply VS Code in your web browser. So you can go in here and get extensions. I have Klein, I have Code Assist, and I was using those to build out my projects. Of course, Klein is going to be using your API, so you're going to pay for that. But Gemini Code Assist, our regular Gemini right here, actually did everything for me. I asked it so many things. And if you guys see the different commits right here, for example, the first one that we saw in Lovable that had the GitHub logo next to it. Where is this at? So this was the first change, added Firebase web preview. This is the first change. So what this means is that when you work in Firebase, which is using Gemini, those changes, since they are connected to the same GitHub, will transfer to Lovable. So I was going from Lovable to Firebase to Lovable to Firebase. Some things I would do inside of Lovable, like, adding images, I just wanted to use Lovable for because it was pretty easy. I could add a bunch of different images, describe the images, and say where to put them. And so I thought that was, really, really cool. And so we get closer into versions. We have our login page now. We click sign in. We get in there. We have our custom images where we want them. We even created a custom ad to show what the ads would look like. This page is built out more, and I'm just going to show you guys the full site. So this is the client, Young Entrepreneurs. Shout out to Young Entrepreneurs. Click sign in. You get here to the login page. Now, some of these changes I will say I wouldn't have made. I wouldn't have added this, blue background. I would have kept it much simpler, but this was the full built out page. So let's open it. You get here, you have your profile. You can go dark mode if you want to. Go to your dashboard. The dark mode doesn't stick, but you can still go back to it. And then you can start assignment. It pulls up the assignment. You can go to your notebook and you have the different archives in here, your huddles, your quizzes. You can view your quizzes. And so this was all built out with just prompts. I just told AI what I wanted, what I didn't like, what I wanted changed, and it fixed it. We even see the messages view where we have peer-to-peer, peer-to-instructor, and the group chats, which are basically breakout rooms. So everything has been built out on this platform pretty much, and we did it using Firebase and Lovable together, not separate, together. And also, some chatbots. So I thought it would be interesting to share that with you. If you did learn something in this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with a friend, because I think everyone should know that they can, in fact, build a website or a platform within a few minutes, relatively easy, with a low amount of thinking. So I think it's pretty cool. But let me know what you guys are experimenting with these type of platforms. Lovable did just come out with like a free weekend. I didn't do a video on that, but they've been coming out with new features like their new AI agent. We're probably going to test that out on the page. So stay tuned for that. Turn on post notifications, and also stay tuned for on July 11th, we will be having a live masterclass here on YouTube that is going to show you everything you need to know to get started with AI and use it in a way that's actually going to, promote ROI. And I'm even about to do a video talking about what tools I'm using, because I've reviewed a ton of tools on this channel, but I do not use most of these tools. I use a select number of them because they are, more useful than others, or they may have all-encompassing features. So stay tuned for that. But this has been Delo Brands, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.